Hi guys, Dave in Texas here. What you're looking at is my workbench. And the first thing I want to do is send a big shout out to Dave of Dave's World of Fun Stuff up in Canada. Because he just got this request recently. Show what's in his toolbox. I think what they meant to say is they want to see his tools that he works on guitars with. Okay, maybe they're getting an idea of what they need to do the same type of work. Now I think, I'll go through this one more time and show you what we use, and from then on just refer back to this video. Right now, thing I've got first I use a lot is my workbench vise. It holds things in place, what you see right now. I'm sanding down yet another guitar that's too the heel is just too deep, right? It's just needs to be removed about 9/64, which means it'd be way out of spec when you're trying to get that thing, the action done on it. Now, I got a few things that may be of interest, right? Gauge that does action, all kinds of different things you can use it for. Mainly it's for action on the guitars. Feeler gauge. Now I used to take these things apart and only have the ones I use the most of out. But it got to a point I started losing them and started looking for them, and where is that darn thing? So I got another one. I'm just going to leave it all together this time. Next, a fret scale. And what it does, it gives me a Fender or Gibson fret alignment, so I can check your relief on your neck and check the fret positions. A few other things, straightness and bow and all that kind of good stuff, and that's real nice. We got a little bitty gauge here, a little scale, and I can measure action. I used to use this for action a lot, but my eyes have gotten to the point I need something bigger, so that's why I have that rectangular one. But this does anything you want, just little inches and millimeters and all that kind of good stuff. And conversions on the back. Little flat scale. Goes up to 18.5 inches. Right? Kind of reminds me of something in my dreams. Anyway, that's upside down. Always can use a scale. You can, check the fret height, that kind of good stuff with this as well, okay? Now, I'm not going to pull out every single tool in my box, but here's another one I just got recently, a little tiny one to help me shave down these heels on these necks. And it's a little planer, a little handy-dandy, little tiny planer. And I still have to round off these edges to get some more action on removing some of that wood from these bad heels. I always have a caul here or a chuck to hold the necks. I've got 3 or 4 different sizes. I use this one when I'm doing the sanding work. Underneath there's a whole set of little tiny wrenches and little tiny drivers, little small things I use. Behind that is not only just pins, but I got little tiny like watchmakers tools for the little tiniest of things, as well as a big old string of solder, and of course a pencil sharpener. Keep that thing sharp, get it. And I got that watered down Windex that I use a lot of, and behind it I got spray alcohol. Now that spray alcohol is for something, it's for cleaning, but not for poly finishes. It's for cleaning, very hard to get to parts and things like that. Plus, it's it's really good. It's handy to have around the shop because you cut yourself, which I do a lot of. Now, way back behind that's a what they call a jeweler saw, little tiny blade for cutting small, delicate things you want to work with. That's the one with the handle. It's a jeweler saw. Up above that's more solder. Below that's a little red marker I use to mark things with on the frets and on the parts. Tape, that's clear, is 2-way Scotch, and behind that are the radius tools. I used to check the radius. Beside that is the barely stick tape for working with the frets. Obviously you've seen that a lot of. And behind that is some double stick padded, which I use that in some cases to help set up pickups that are just too deep in the pockets. You know, set those up and keep them in position. Works pretty good. And that little bucket there is full of all different types of screwdrivers and drivers that I use. And you see it laying across there, it fell out. A little paintbrush. And I've used that a lot on the videos to show you flip, you know, dirt and crud out of things, so I have to blow on it and get it all over myself or use compressed air. Behind that's a common hex key that we use all the time. Behind that is a JB Weld, you know, which is an epoxy. You have to mix those two together and get a real strong bond. Behind that's a little spray nozzle for compressed air can I've got. A little pancake compressor. Geez, a big bottle there with the blue top. That's water, filled up all the time with water, just in case something has to be, you know, put out a fire. That's mainly used for washing. Little red handle thing. Those are little things like you know, nippers and cutters and needle nose pliers and, you know, bent pliers, all that kind of good stuff. You know, I use a lot of those little tiny ones. And right now we're looking at all the glues I use here. I use not only that big one back there, the really good Elmer's wood glues for professionals, and I use all these types of sticker glues, and, you know, it depends on what the circumstances are. But there's Gorilla Glue, there's C602, and there's a special type of super glue, right? All right. Now you see the Elmer's back there, obviously the orange tip, and also you see the little oh, see, there it is. By the water ball is a little electric meter, you know, continuity meter for other things. The little bucket that says, what does it say? Logan's Roadhouse. That contains picks, as well as little shields and little depth gauges, little things that are hard to keep up with, so I keep them in that. And behind that are all kinds of wires I use, like 6 sets of different types of wires, all the same gauges. And beside that's a little 90-degree that I use to make sure things are square and level. And behind that is a capo, and a little license plate cover that says support your local musician, traditional guitars, la la la. Now I go down again, you got my voltmeter, you've got all the different strings I have here. I always keep 10 or 15 sets of strings, different gauges, anywhere from 9s to 11s. And polishing compounds, I got those, and that's some in the I got some left in a plastic bag that seals so it doesn't dry out. Let's see, next I got a lit soldering iron. It has a light on the end of it, real bright, to get in the pockets so I don't want to remove everything. And a little sponge poking out. And here's my normal working soldering iron. Goes up to different gauges, so I don't have to burn something up. Okay. And let's see what else I got laying around on the table. We got an amp down here that I use to check the guitars with. Alright, here we go. 75 watts is not a bad little checker. It's pretty damn loud. And let's see, down here I got different supplies of sandpaper and cords and wires and all kinds of crazy stuff. Let's go on over to the side. Up here I've got all kinds of aerosols, like paints and cleaners and sprays and air compressed air and Gooby Gone and all kinds of different cleaning type things, you know, all sprays for what we do in this job. And underneath this, we got a nice, big, huge cabinet that I use. Hold on a minute, guys. Get all this junk out of the way. My Coca-Cola. This is what I use to store all the parts inside of. Let's see if I can get this thing out of the way so I can show you what this is. Now here's what everybody's asking about. What's inside those boxes? Well, here we go, guys. All types of pickups. all types of specialty parts. You got it? And an empty ashtray, busy ashtray. That's where you keep the pickups. Old ones and new ones. Good ones and bad ones. A lot of times we'll take parts off of these. Next drawer, we got all kinds of parts, electronics parts. And tuning keys, da-da-da-da-da. Next one's all kinds of screws and bolts and nuts. And beyond that, you got all kinds of caps and pots that are brand new and things. You know, that kind of thing. And here's my junk drawer. Anytime I go, where is that thing? I go to look in this first. And 9 times out of 10 it's there because someone's seen it laying around and put it in here. I say, anytime you find something you want to put somewhere, instead of putting it somewhere I can't find it, put it in my junk jar. Makes sense? Yes, it does make sense. At least it does to me. So that's about it, guys. That is what's on my table. That's what I use. And of course I got other tools stacked away. I got 2 boxes down here full of larger, heavier tools. Just everything you think of, from hammers to drills to, you know, on and on. Over here I got 2 sacks of tools, right, and a little box of tools. And of course I got these tools over here, including my caliper, which I placed, and my handy dandy little tool I love the most. It's so unique. Let me get this. You gotta see this. Somebody was thinking when they made this little jewel. It's what's known as a snake drive. You attach it to one end and snake it around whatever you need to get to, you know, do your job when things are in the way. And it works very well. I come to, you know, tell you the truth, it does work very well. So if you ever have a problem, get one of these, snake drive. I don't even like the name of it. Anyway, that's Dave's bench. Okay, any questions? Give me a holler. Last time we're going to do this, so ask me now. And yes, I'm working on that neck, getting that thing done, get all leveled up and ready to fix. And normally I do all my work on a movable desk I have out here as a cabinet on wheels, so it moves around so I can get in and out easier because of my condition. Makes it much simpler. Okay. And I almost forgot this. I have it stored underneath my workbench where it belongs. It's not in the way all the time. I got my fret press, my new fret press in. That nice, right? Now, I'm of the old school. I used to use a rounded brass hammer to put those frets in, but on older guitars and very dry fretboards, I've come to the conclusion that banging on those things is not the best thing to do. And it always took a special setup for acoustics to hold the shoulder of those guitars with sandbags and with padding, with all types of you know, clamps and things, keep them from being, you know, bouncing around. But that vibration of, you know, whacking that thing with a hammer, and the fact that they're so thin, they tend to spring. You follow me? And get misaligned, which means you got to take it back out again, which means you stand a chance of chipping it again. But this basically has a caul that fits on the end of it, that fits the exact radius of the guitar that I'll be working with, and it just presses in under pressure. Right, nice. And it's got a nice gate and a support and all that kind of stuff that goes with this. And it's meant for a permanent setup, but I don't think I'm going to do that as of yet. I think I'm going to leave it as it is, freestanding, because this thing must weigh 50 pounds all by itself. It's a really substantial press and very well made. You can bet Stu Mac, I get all my stuff from them. Make some excellent you know, guitar working and luthier supplies and tools. And if anything goes wrong, they're the first ones to take care of it for you. Which this one had a little problem. Some of the parts were missing, but they're going to get those out to me right away, which I appreciate. So, any questions about my workbench? You know, or the tools I use, or maybe the tools that, you know, you like to know about, you'd have to do some, you know, a particular job. You know, you can always let me know and or ask me, and I'll, you know, do the best to answer you. Like I said, this is my new fret press. Isn't that cool? for pressing in frets on all types of necks. You know, all types of necks, get it? And doing the job, you know, the best and most, secure way and safe way as compared to using a hammer or a hand one. I've got a hand press as well, but it is just beat to pieces. And I don't use that anymore because it's just, too much ifs, ands, or maybes is going to cause a problem. But that, in essence, is my workbench. And like I said, here's my work. Well, I'll show you this while I'm at it.